I'm Rebecca. This is Matt, our granddaughter, actually Emma. Matt's a native. He's been from Florida his whole life. My family's from Florida too, but we grew up in the Panhandle in Pensacola, and he worked for the state for 28 years. I came out of the workforce after 30 years in dental and oral surgery, and so we kind of came to retire here and grow food, teach others how to do it. This here basically started with just this grass. You know, we just covered it with cardboard, and we have a site down here at the end of the property that we have tree companies drop off mulch for us as well as the community. Neighbors use it down this road and other people who are doing food foresting. You don't just get mulch in there, you get all kind of things. You can get logs and scrap wood and all kind of weird things, but beggars can't be choosers, and we take what we get. We're not really growing plants in this context. We're trying to grow our soil, and the plants will come. You know, a lot of things are self-seeded just because it falls on the right soil. But if you can build your soil up, that's where it all starts. So we are constantly adding organic material, whether it's manure or mulch. We have a native plum here. We're just trying different things, kind of a trial area. And plus, this is the goats. We call this goat candy, Tithonia. They absolutely, you want to feed them some of them? Yeah. You can see it's chopped off, but it normally can get up to about 20-25 feet, and they absolutely love it. So if we can plant more of what they like here at the fence line, then it's less work for us. So
yeah, with the cost of feed, or hay, as I should say, we usually ran through about 4 bales of hay. We use TNA hay, which is the Timothy and alfalfa mix. And we're just giving them about a week and a half, we could run through that 4 bales of hay. So Rebecca and I discussed a while back, we said, you know, this is just a lot of money we're spending on hay to feed these goats. So now what we've done is we've used what we've grown to feed them, and they tend to love it. We have them right now on lemongrass and some pigeon pea, and of course the Mexican sunflower they love. We'll throw in some moringa for them, and they love it. As long as I fill that little hanging basket over there, they'll go through that in about a day's time. So of course we keep them separate, the little ones separate from them, because mom's still nursing here, of course, and they have all that second pasture over there. The small ones, they just have at it all day long. They can eat whatever they want over there. So we do have some hibiscus tea that is growing in pasture 2 that we'll harvest somewhere around the end of September into October. But we're trying to keep the bigger goats off of that because they tend to go to it. They like it just like candy to them. So the end goal is to rotate the goats through the pastures as we rotate our harvesting of our growing of the hibiscus tea. So this year they'll be in pasture 1, fertilizing it with their poop, and then we'll turn them loose after we harvest the tea in pasture 2. And then we'll come back into this pasture 1 the next season to grow the hibiscus and keep them over on pasture 2. And they'll go through, of course, you can see with the weeds and everything that's growing over there along with the hibiscus, they'll have plenty to eat over there, especially during the winter months, which is good because everything tends to slow down as far as this growth. So, but we'll go over here and start collecting some fodder for them. You know, I just think now we can use what we've been given here, you know, to grow what they can eat, and it just saves us a little bit of money. Yeah.
You want to get some of the lemongrass?
We'll try that out. We just trimmed these down, and look how much they've grown.
They're big.
And they just,
we may not get the whole thing. We'll get them a little bit.
it makes it much easier when you work together out here on these.
I just wrap it up like a big ponytail, and when he gets through cutting, we just throw it in.
How often do you do this?
Just did this probably a month or so ago.
Okay.
Do you see how much grows?
Yeah. I wasn't expecting you guys to cut the whole thing, but
I know,
guess,
but it goes through pretty quick.
They'll go through this. Also with the pigeon pea, it's basically our chop and drop on our rows of trees here. But I like to give the goats a little bit. They love the leaves on these things.
Ideally, in an agroforestry area, you want to chop and drop, which is after you lay down your initial mulch, which is what we try to do. But the goats want us to share with them too, so we do both.
That should fill up the basket. Yeah, let me.
Good job, Em.
Let me
Got
carry
5.
that out. I'll pull
You
this
can
out.
see some of these areas where Emma did recently, this is meant to be easy on the agroforestry owner to plant these things out and just leave them where you chop them. We did potatoes here recently. They've been harvested. Summer is a kind of we hibernate in the summer instead of the winter here in terms of the heat. You want to do it? Sure, go for it. And then we did some peas over this, but we're in between. We're excited about getting our fall stuff in. One thing that we have requested a lot is the lemongrass wreaths. They're about the mug size.
Oh, okay.
And basically you cut just a couple strands, you weave it into a little wreath. You remember helping me do that? Were you helping do some wreaths?
I did one.
Yeah, or you can do a giant wreath and put it in your pot for a pitcher of lemongrass tea, which we do a lot actually. It's very refreshing, but we have some people that are ordering these weekly.
That's
from
really
us.
cool.
Oh, really?
That's really nice. Neat. That's good.
We have just a front porch where we do like an honor system for eggs and different things from the farm. Yep.
That's great.
So Emma, cut a little bit off and I'll show how to do the lemongrass wreaths, because if people are growing this, it's super easy. Can you give me a little bit?
I don't want to get cut by a lemongrass.
Here you go. I'll do it.
Actually, okay, I'll do it.
Okay, you just taken, and then you might have seen this before. It's all over YouTube. Then you start wrapping it around itself. And you know, it's nice to grow all these things, but to have the different purposes, the goats eating them, you know, getting some advantage out of them. They're chop and drop and fertilizer for our agroforestry rows is really maximizing. And I feel like what we could really do to steward our lands, growing these things. I didn't always know this. I'm pretty self-taught, and some of the people that I've learned most from are part of the Lake County Permaculture group, just their answers to different things that people have, situations. So you can see it's just kind of going around. So near the end, I'll stick my finger in, come around. You have a place to tuck it in. You want to practice?
Yeah.
You need a shorter piece. And then just trim it off. You can dry these and store them in a mason jar
Look.
for later. Yeah, you might want to wear some gloves. Nama's got tough hands lately. And you know, you just throw it in hot water and steep it. My one friend that gets them, a lot of them, she'll use it 4 or 5 times. Yeah, over and over.
Yeah, I'm sure you can.
So here, that's yours. So this area, we like to tell people if you have room enough to set out some rows. This is supposed to fill in like a forest area. What we've done in the past before we put this black weed fabric down is our chickens and rabbits have been run through here to fertilize this area. So to get it ready, we do a one-time till before we put the weed fabric down. We've pretty much run them through all of these rows by now. Our rabbit tractors over here that we do our grow outs
I
on.
see that. We're interested in doing like a rabbit. I've never seen one, but we've
Yeah.
always wanted to do
A
that.
You're about a
Yeah,
week
to
late.
run
These
them through the
guys,
thing.
yep,
Yeah.
they went to freezer camp about a week
Yeah.
ago.
Oh yeah.
So they were here when you were here for the meeting.
Yeah.
But we run these through each of these.
really cool.
This is a little wider, but some of these you can get like several movements, you know, through the
Yeah.
thing. This is pretty much on this last run through this aisle here, the chickens. It's on a tractor too. And you can see the difference in the fertility of the ground once it's come through, because you can see right now this, I guess we haven't done this area, but this is more sand. So these are California, New Zealand cross rabbits. Yep, they're a great eating breed. But yeah, as far as there's a book called Beyond the Pellet that's really good. We share hints and tricks with my brother up in Alabama, because he started his rabbitry about the same time and helped set us up with our cages, and he has the same breed. And so that's a good book, Beyond the Pellet, where you can start growing some of your fodder like we do for our goats and throw them in with your breeders and your grow outs, but you still need that protein, which moringa would be a good one to replace that protein for them. But they need that pellet to, unless you're going to feed them for a long time. It costs us about $2 a week to feed these rabbits in terms of the cost by the time they're grown out and they go to freezer camp. So you have to monetize your time and what you're spending on there. So grow all you can. We're not breeding any rabbits during the summer because it's just too hot for them. So now that we processed these last week, we'll give them a break for the fall. These are just laying hens. We don't process our hens. We have a little group of 4 families that they process their chickens, and we're going to do a barter with them for their chicken meat, and they want some more rabbits, so that works out good. We just do them for their eggs, and the kids enjoy them. We enjoy them. We love visiting our chickens every day. They're in zone 2, where in permaculture you place your landscape in zones, where this is a zone where we come pretty much every day to check on them. We haven't lost any to predators at all in this setup. Since we've had them out on pasture, they get locked up every single day. Matt does the majority of this work here. And this is electrified at nighttime. We keep it unlocked during the day. But this rooster right here, Bob Dylan, you're not going to touch one of these hens without him knowing about it. When you throw some food in, I wish I had something. Let me see what they do with this. He's usually the last one to eat. He makes sure all his ladies get their food. And he's the last one to go in at night. That's just their nature. You know, he's the protector. This is actually 2 separate flocks. We just integrated some younger flocks. You can see that going on. So we have the flock underneath the tractor. This is called a chickshaw, chicken tractor. And then this is the original flock over here. And this gets moved, what would you say, about every month or 2?
About a month, yep.
Yeah, this is a temporary Premier fence, electric, solar. We don't have it hooked up now, obviously, but and we want it to be temporary because that's our motive, is to run these. This is true agroforestry, where you're integrating your animals, their manure, and using them to build your soil up. This where they sleep at night, that'll hold 39 hens, but we don't have that many. And it has 3 or 4 different places, obviously, and here you want to move it to capture that nighttime poop, at nighttime. So we just moved it forward a little bit, and then we can probably go 2 more spaces here.
That is from a homesteader, Justin Rhodes. This is the second one he did. It was the 2.0. And he moved the wheels a little more forward,
I remember
easier
those
to
videos.
move.
Yeah.
Well, shot out an email. He sent me the plans to it, and
works really well.
it's perfect. I still have them printed out. It's just step by step. Tells you the materials you need, the length to cut everything, and then the assembly processes after that. Pictures and everything. It's really, really great.
Awesome.
And I like watching him. Justin's just got a ton of knowledge.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Learn a lot from him.
So we have all our rows numbered, like I said. This is just simple drip tape that is on a timer. Of course, it hasn't been on all summer because of our rainy season, but this allows you to plant your perennials down this way, pigeon pea, and the different support species that you need to grow out agroforestry areas for chop and drop. There's some SUNN hemp down here that's self-seeded, pigeon pea. This is the SUNN hemp. Once it goes to seed, which is this here, I didn't really plant all this. This is year 2, I think, on this. It's self-seeded. And this can be fodder too, to be honest, with some of your animals. Chop and drop with the bananas too. Like I said, these bananas have only been out this year. And our neighbor gave us these taller ones, ice cream bean. And this one flopped over with the storm, but we're kind of letting it lay there because the rack's still not touching the ground. So we're gonna see what happens with that. But yeah, your support species in between, and you can see this is an annual hibiscus sabdariffa here. Everybody should be growing this. This is what makes the calyxes that you make the tea from, and we don't have any yet. When the days get shorter, this will start to get the blooms on it. This is in the okra family, and it will give you the calyx that swells up, and you can harvest for tea. We've tried to grow enough to supply us all year. We just ran out, so we're a couple months short this year. Last year we had 42 bushes. We have a whole pasture of it over there, and then my friend gave me these specimens just to interplant. She didn't have anything to do with them. So.
Well, last year was our first major harvest with the Roselle, and I think we harvested about 110 to 120 pounds.
Wow,
Hand-picked.
of the calyxes.
Yes.
Handpicked by you.
Handpicked. And it's just wonderful stuff. The flavor is good. We like to drink ours more on the healthy side. We put honey and lime juice in it. It just really sweetens it up. It's really good flavor.
So So this is our rabbit tractor. It's vacant right now as of a week ago, like I said, but we just drag it. It has a handle on it, and even I can drag it. But most of the time it's Matt. Matt does all the morning chores.
When you do the rabbits, do you have like you have to be conscious of keeping the male and females apart, or are they
Yes.
not old enough yet?
Oh, you mean when they're growing out? No, not
When you're-
necessarily.
Yeah, 'cause we usually try to harvest them or to process
When it's
them
time
about 13 weeks, so they're not quite at that age.
Okay, to breed
Yeah.
yet while they're
We had a couple of Holland Lopbeards in here. They were a little older, and I started seeing some movement on
Yeah,
them.
you're like,
So we
oh.
had to dispose of those.
Yeah.
Where are the other
Um,
rabbits?
This is our design here, just something for them to get out of the weather. They can go in here for cover, and you have to have lots and lots of water for any animal, of course, but especially rabbits. They get really hot, so we have 5 or 6 water bottles set up here, usually on the north end, so they have less sun exposure on their bottles. And the kids can come here and see the rabbits in the process, and kids need to be exposed to that this is our food. This tree was struck down by lightning according to the topographical aerial photos that Lake County provides on their website, and you can see the tree was dying through the chronological photos that they provide. But anyways, the tree limbs were sprawled out everywhere when we bought the property. We trimmed them all back. We put a pot of dragon fruit on the top of it. It's in a little black pot up there, and it has taken over. There's some fruit on the other side. You can see some blooms over here. We don't do a thing to it. Rainwater, I guess. We have given so many cuttings of this stuff away for free. I mean, it really was our way to get people on the farm because we started having an abundance of things we didn't really need. We're here to get you guys started, or whatever you can take. We try to encourage people, bring your clippers and your pots.
So this is that black cherry again here.
Now that is called Hercules. That is a native tree too. That's not native black cherry. Its common name is toothache tree. If you chew a leaf, Matt usually gets everybody to do this. Go ahead. Here's a baby. We
It'll
can reach
actually
some leaves.
numb your mouth. I
Because it
actually
will numb
didn't
your
know
lips and
anything
tongue.
about it once we were established on the property. I noticed these here, and I brushed up against it with these thorns
Oh,
on
those
the
are
trunk.
brutal,
And I
yeah.
said, no, we got to get rid of these things. And then, of course, I think it was our neighbor that actually told us, was it Audrey?
Yeah,
Yeah,
she was
that
the one that told me.
introduced us to what these trees actually are.
Hercules
And I
Club
said, well,
or
that's
something.
pretty cool. We'll keep them.
Yeah,
But
those
yeah,
thorns.
it does. It's really neat. I mean, you take a leaf and you chew it around in your mouth, and it'll
Another
eventually
fun
just
one
get
for the
in your-
kids because it's completely edible. So, you know, this year, like, you can just set up a little fruit guild anywhere. If you only have a little bit of space or whatever, we just basically started plugging in a row: mulberry, greater galangal, an annual, fig tree, weeds, and jackfruit. And next thing you know, if you mulch it in, we need to remulch it, but you've got a little area to grow food in. Doesn't have to be like huge rows. It could just be a small space. A guild is where you have your specimens that grow up to be canopy trees, and then you have your understory with bushes and berries and things like that, and then the vines and the 7 layers that really these food forests are meant to grow in. And these are tubers here. You harvest the tuber of the greater galangal. It's in the ginger and the turmeric family. And that's really what we're trying to show people, is that whatever context you have, throw some mulch down and get going with it. This is more of the food forest area. We need to bring up our canopy a little bit in terms of shade and sunlight in here. But it is a nice spot to sit over around the fire in the fall or even in the summer and make a phone call if you need to. And we've interspersed some different specimen trees in here. We have quite a bit of citrus that we're trying in here. Citrus isn't my favorite.
You're good though with the, that's
what
a
we're
good
hoping.
test to check it out, see if it's what they're saying, you
Yep.
know? Yeah,
We're
that's
testing
great.
it out and seeing.
I bet it's gonna do good though.
You think?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I
Well, we're learning, and
Yeah.
I love to hear from people
know.
like
gotta
you
test
because,
it, yeah.
yeah, you know, we love the research and things, but our biggest learning experience on this farm is trial and error,
Yep.
hearing from others, getting feedback. That's part of the premise for the co-op that we formed this past year with these other families, is that we would have them over to our property, we would go to theirs, we would get feedback from them and what they're doing or what we could do better. And you know, when you come through humbly and try to get those little nuggets of truth about what you could do better, that to me is very helpful, because we're all growing in Florida, you know.
Yep.
The same zone 9B here. But anyways, this was a sign we provided for some when we had our opening, and that when people come through, we do tours. It helps them to know they're coming into this agroforestry area here. and what they can expect in terms of the layout. This is Tithonia too, but it's a different variety with the orange bloom. The name's escaping me. But you know, these seed heads, Emma, you want to show how we collect seeds on some of these things? You can take these and, here's a good one. Take these and collect the seeds and spread them around. And these actually originally were from seeds that we got. And we kind of try to harvest those when we can.
These
Too
are
wet?
little seeds. No, it's not wet at all.
Oh, good.
But look, there's little tiny seeds in there.
This is our breeder area. Matt, you can comment on that.
Yeah, we have a total of 3. We have 2 does and a buck in here. They are the California, New Zealand variety. Every morning come out, water them, make sure they have plenty of water in their feed. They're on 18% feed now. We also try to give them some moringa too. They love that. It's good protein for them. They eat that up. But you know, we had this originally as our chicken run, our chicken coop, and then the chicken run attached. But then when we brought on the rabbits, it was kind of during the winter months when we brought them in. So I thought this would be a good area to protect them, but they still have quite a bit of ventilation in here. I've made some modifications to the building here so they'll have plenty of airflow. But we do move that rabbit tractor around a lot so that they can actually, you know, they're fertilizing the ground, and also they're eating the greenery there, and that helps too. They like that. And they seem to do well out there. We try to keep them as shaded as we possibly can too, because you know, during these summer months, that's kind of why we held off on breeding anymore. It just gets too hot for them.
Yeah.
So, you know, some people live in an area that is heavily shaded, and we're encouraging them, stick it in. You know, you mulch it deeply. We haven't turned our water system on. We've drug hoses for 4 years. We've just had our water system put in the late fall, and we haven't had to turn it on at all this summer due to all the heavy rains. And you know, when you're mulching, what we do is we go around and we collect people gather up their leaves in the neighborhood, and we go and pick them up, hundreds of bags. And you start getting soil. Like I told you earlier, we're building soil, not necessarily plants, you know, in this stuff. This is all leaf mold. You want mushrooms. You know, the pests sometimes come. We let that cycle go through. We don't even spray anything ever. And some things we suffer, you know, annuals mostly, not perennials and other things, but for the most part we try to let nature take its course. So we may not find any, but we like to spy for those monarchs like you were doing, TJ, because this is a whole good area. Do you see any of them? High and low. Oh, TJ sees one. He's not giving it away. I don't see any yet, but you know, their favorite thing is to hide underneath for their protection from the birds.
Oh,
survival.
I found it.
Oh, I see it, baby.
Is it a baby?
I didn't see that one.
Oh yeah.
There's one right here.
And you can see they eat it down pretty good, but we had one plant we bought, and this is the Mexican milkweed, or tropical I should say. And this stuff just blows and, you know, self-propagates if it lands on the right soil.
Caterpillars too, and it gives them something to eat other than anything else in your garden that they might eat. They like this better, so.
Trap crop, yeah.
Good. Oh, you got a
Plantinga?
Yes, it's one of Emma's favorites too.
Oh, yes.
Fruit. Knock yourself out. Eat all you want.
Oh, you got those, yeah.
She loves these.
Dark.
And cuttings, they're a little harder than like mulberries to root, but you can do cuttings through this, dip in some rooting hormone.
The fruit on these look really good.
Have you cut it back in the past?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
all
we
right.
have. Sure have. It did freeze and nipped it quite a bit, but it came back.
Yeah, that's what all this is. All this
Okay,
brown
you
is
gotta cool
the
down.
freeze.
Yeah.
And it was just mainly in the top of
And
the
it
tree.
actually spurred a bigger harvest than we ever had after that. Yeah.
What do you do with these things? You
Just eat 'em.
Just munch on them?
Yep.
Okay.
Now we have tried to freeze dry some of them just to see, but I mean, I like them better fresh.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
fruit's
right.
meant to be juicy, so.
Yeah.
This is lemon bee balm and the.
We'll let her in.
Here. I can pick that one. This one. And then you can rub it. And there's little tiny seeds.
I don't even bother with harvesting the seeds like that. I was telling Emma recently that I just take the seed heads and these things. I walk around and cut the seed heads and just, these weren't even planted by me to be honest, and just throw them down, and you don't even cover them up, and they'll be a clump. for next year. And these are a little more spent, but the time of year is spring when you want your pollinators
Oh,
coming
I
in.
see one.
This, I didn't plant this, it volunteered. You know, what we did here, TJ, was we summarized with just Walmart Great Value brand black-eyed peas. You don't want your bare soil to be exposed to the summer sun, and since we don't do a whole lot of growing in the summertime, you know, in these raised beds or really anywhere on the property much, then we try to cover crop it. This is legume, so any legume you plant is collecting nitrogen from the atmosphere and depositing it into the roots, and they're putting nodules, see the nodules, the nitrogen nodules, onto the roots of the plants, so that is adding to your soil. What you want to do is take it and just chop it, and all that nitrogen stays down into your soil to add fertility and organic matter to it. So we'd come and just chop all this, lay it down, and then we're ready to plant in it after it decomposes. This is a context for older people. We're 51. We foresee that we're not always going to want to bend over and grow our food. So if we can get a height of beds that is better for our bodies when we're in the heat all day, to grow food in, to weed and things like that, we kind of think ahead on that. Matt makes these beds. He's made some for some friends and made some for his parents. So he's got pretty good at that. We enjoy having this ledge here because you can sit and rest, you know, or you can put your pots out here we put seed trays sometimes out here.
So, see these little things, they look like dead flowers, but they're actually not. They're seeds. Yeah, these inside are little seeds.
This is Petunia. She's our runt and still escape artist. Kind of made us her herd since she was a bottle baby. That's what happens when you bottle feed a baby goat. You become their herd or their mom. They want to get tangled up in your feet instead of their mom's looking for food. But anyway, this little barn is multi-purpose. It serves as a place of education as well as sales. We really don't push the sales as much as probably we should, but because we kind of try to keep the sales to offset our feed costs. But it's a place for classes. We've done freeze dryer classes here. We've scheduled a couple of soap making classes. We kind of ask the community to tell us what they want by signing up and telling us what sort of classes they'd like for us to give here with what we do. Kids gardening, edible landscaping, you know, that they want to learn how to run an online business, which is what my daughter does out of this portion of it. And so we listen to them and what they want, and we also hold Lake County permaculture meetings here monthly. We like to host that because they need a place. We need to be with like-minded people so that we can learn from them and you know, keep the word out and the awareness of what permaculture is doing for our communities. It's not just about gardening and planting. It's about being a community. It's about teaching, learning ourselves, you know, and so that's basically what we do here. Now, as far as seasonal things go, the summertime, we don't really have a whole lot. We have some of our winter squash over here right now. We're not really open, to be honest. We have some of our tea that we've harvested from last year that we're getting ready to start harvesting in September. We have that available. We have some of our freeze-dried food that helps. We sell that to offset some of our feed costs. We have a loft area that we've set aside for kids to play in while we're having meetings, and also we're starting an after-school program that will have some activity up in that area. We'll do a lot of education in here with the kids for the after-school program from 3 to 6. This is a room set aside for all of our seeds and our freeze dryer. We have a lot of our canning jars in here. We do packaging and shipping, herb drying. We have a big herb drying rack in there. And we put out some of our educational books for people to borrow or look through while they're here so that they can have a reference to growing things specifically. They're all Florida books. So we're growing in their own zones or context here. You know, our state's so varied. We have growing zones down the Keys all the way up to 8A zone. We're in 9B here, but these books kind of help you to navigate through what's going to grow in your own context here. Some really good ones. And we have our eggs that we provide for the community. It's just a porch pickup that we do on our front porch. We've been doing that for years now on our system. And what else do we do here? We do all of our seed processing over here because we save a lot of our seeds. So you'll see that this is the milkweed. We make our own pickles with dill. We're going to do some canning classes and teach people how to do the dill pickles too. Coriander, which comes from the cilantro. We package this and sell it when we have time to do that. Here's some of the seeds we were just looking at here. We try to also put this out for swaps when we have our meetings. So the best thing you can do is swap and get things for free. This is moringa powder that we capsulize. It's super healthy. Do some research on moringa. If you're growing it, you can dry it. We dry it in our racks. Then we pulverize it through the Vitamix and end up putting it in capsule form to sell or give to our family, or we take it. You can get these little machines cheaply on Amazon. It's great to grow all these things, but if you're not taking it and following through with putting it in your bodies, I don't like the taste of moringa off a tree, so that's why we capsulize it. And research it, and we're all self-taught. We just learn through YouTube and others mostly. So this is some thyme that we're processing. Just different herbs. This is some of the seeds that people brought for the seed swap last time at our permaculture meeting. And we bring plants to share usually. It's a language, unspoken language really, of people who share this interest is why pay cash when you can just bring what you're growing already, swap it out, learn some new different plants. So we have this area. What else area? Matt's got his area over here that he builds a lot of the things we need on our farm, like the raised beds, little workshop over there. And we just have a good time over here. Sometimes we eat, snack, cut up. It's just fun to get away from the house a little bit sometimes. This was just a shell when it came. Matt put all the walls up and laid the floor and built the loft for the kids. This is where we keep all of our goat feed and rabbit feed and that kind of thing. You can get Firehouse buckets at Firehouse Subs for $3. So we're constantly collecting those, trying to reuse them. They have good sealed food grade lids to use. But just think out of the box, and I would encourage people to just go out to meet new friends. I'm introverted for the most part. I'm an identical twin, and I'm the more introverted one, but by offering free dragon fruit cuttings and other plants, you start to meet new people, and next thing you know, you're getting to rub shoulders with people who know more than you, and you're learning all the time from it. So yeah, we enjoyed having y'all out here.
Yeah.